Welcome.
I guess we'll start.
We're really informal. This is more of a discussion, like talking a little bit about who we are, what we do, and how maybe what ideas you have of how we can improve, or maybe you want to know how you can help the community working group. My name is Amy, June, title Camel Case, Mark, and April. Oh, there we are. I don't need to say it again, but there's our lovely faces. So before we start, there is some housekeeping. I don't think there are any images in this deck, but if there's images that add content or you need it for context, we'll describe them. But most of the time, I think all of the images in this deck are decorative, so we won't be giving you a description of them. The Drupal Code of Conduct. We are part of the conflict resolution team, but we are not the DrupalCon Code of Conduct.
DrupalCon has its own reporting system.
So if you do need help, if you see something, if something happens to you, you can use this email conduct@association.drupal.org. And I believe the only person who sees that is Tim Lennon. Okay, so please make sure that you if you need help or if you see someone else need help. Why do we have a community working group? Oh. Okay, I guess I'm still talking. We are a global community. We come from all different backgrounds, ages, genders, socioeconomics, and we're passionate about what we talk about. And sometimes when we're passionate about what we talk about, things happen.
Disagreements happen.
Yes. So cultural differences, misunderstandings, power struggles.
It's okay, I'll come back.
We've seen it happen in chat. We've seen it happen in Slack. We've seen it happen in the issue queue. We all have sort of our own opinions, and sometimes when our opinions are strong, they don't always mix well with others. The Drupal Community Working Group, we have two sets of teams, which I don't think I'm going to talk about right now.
But this is our purpose. Is
Oh,
to,
okay.
is to
Yeah.
reduce and resolve conflicts.
So to reduce and resolve conflicts. But we also want to uphold our code of conduct, which we also help develop. We want to make the community friendly and inviting for all. And this is, like, again, in all of our messaging. So the Drupal Community Working Group, I think this is you, Mark.
Okay. Do I have to stand, or can you just?
Can you see the slide?
Yeah, I can see the slide.
I'll slide.
So what the Drupal Community Working Group is a subset of people. Basically, it's under the Drupal Association Board of Directors. They are kind of our oversight committee. And then we have our the group review panel, which is some independent representatives and community elected board members. They're in there as well. We have our community working group, which is a combination of two teams. It's the conflict resolution team and then the community health team. The conflict resolution team is kind of the leading, I don't want to say in charge of, but kind of we're the ones that are driving the thing. We meet more often. We meet once a week, in theory. Not this week because we're all here, or most of us are here. And then the community health team, we meets quarterly, and that's where we discuss different projects that we do and whatnot. And then we also have SMEs, or subject matter experts, people who are from, people who know languages that I don't know, basically, is what one of the things there, and also are representatives of other cultures that we want to make sure that we understand where we're speaking clearly to those groups of people, so that it's not lost in the translation kind of thing. So yeah, the conflict resolution team we're kind of the reactive portion of it. If you have an issue in the greater, the general area of Drupal, you would report at we have a Google form that sends us a report, and we actually investigate them, and some don't need any action whatsoever. Some need us to get very, very much involved. And that's, there are five of us on there. David, who was supposed to be sitting next to me, couldn't make it here, so, and then JD, Amy June, and Donna Bungard, who works for Esteemed, are all on there. And then we also have,
She works at Indeed.
oh, Indeed, oh, really?
Indeed.
I thought she worked at Esteemed.
No,
Oh,
Indeed.
okay, anyway, I know my friends well. And then we have the community health team, and they are the ones that go out there and kind of help, are proactive. They actually are the team that write the code of conduct trainings and set those up and do more of ambassador type stuff than that. So only the conflict resolution team has access to the incident reports, and we kind of keep it hidden. Everything else is public. Like I said, weekly-ish meetings. We try, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. We have to, any issues that are reported, and we've gotten them from all sorts of different spaces. Most recently, there's been a problem on the Facebook group, not yours, Matt, but there's another one as well, that all of a sudden somebody was being a jerk there, and I had to deal with that. We got it from Drupal, the Stack Overflow, the Drupal Stack Overflow. We've had to deal with issues there, which we have nothing we could do really other than say, hey, could you stop? And sometimes that's all that we can do is just say, hey, you're doing this in an abrasive manner. Could you please stop? And that's another thing that one second, Matt. That's another thing that the community health team does is they write the nudges that we kind of like quick snippets that we kind of throw out there in the issue queue or wherever. That's just say, hey, let's bring this back on topic of Drupal, not that person's face, I guess.
So I think I want to really clarify the difference between the two teams. The community health team is proactive. We're working on things that will help give the community tools, whereas the conflict resolution team is reactive. We do not step in unless a reaction is needed, and sometimes we don't at all.
Yeah.
But that's the major difference between the two teams.
Yeah, that was the next slide.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so community health works on different initiatives like the nudges, like for common issues. We have common text that we can share a lot easier and let module maintainers even use those in their issue queues. We've also done workshops, like during the pandemic, we had some mental health workshops for people. We've had like leadership type assisted workshops, and even like the code of contact training goes through us. We're not doing the training, but
organize
we
it
facilitate
basically. Yeah.
We market it
Facilitate,
to our
yeah.
community, and we get a discount from our vendor basically. But yeah, still subject matter experts, people working on just supporting the community health.
And I'm sorry, Matt, you had a question?
Yeah, so should I be directing any conflicts on that Facebook page that I help manage to you guys?
If you feel you need to.
Okay, because at this point, the folks who are administrators of it, we just are taking care of things.
Yeah, and that's fine too. We're just there if you need support. Actually, we'd prefer it.
Yeah, the question was like having your own Facebook group, and do you need to report things higher to the CRT? And if you can manage it yourself, that's great. If you think it needs to be elevated, you can always elevate it to the CRT.
Especially really obtrusive behavior. If you think the wider community needs to know about a behavior and just flag it, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the community health team, we work on initiatives, like I said, and we do like quarterly team calls. We have a Drupal Slack channel called Community-Health, and there is also a CWG issue queue for things you might want to see, things you might want to work on, things you think need some visibility there.
And one thing to note on that, the issue queue is public. Some of the things in the conflict resolution team, we don't want that to be public. It's like a security issue where you don't want to have that publicized. So that's why we go through a different route on that.
Yep. All right, so how does the Drupal community support you? And how does the community health team support the community? think through all these different services, like we all want a welcoming place, and we all have to participate in making it a welcoming place. And so I know that Matthew Tift is working on some initiatives and some things to help with mental health, with like the chaos of the world and the US, just trying to make sure that we have lots of support for people in our community. So I think you did a blog post kind of recently about burnout.
Yeah, he
focus.
did burnout, and he's working on an article now about us being a welcoming community and re-emphasizing our values and principles.
Yeah. So there's CWG office hours.
So CWG office hours, we're really trying to pick that up again. They kind of went on the wayside. We are having a BOF after the board of directors meeting, the Drupal Association board meeting, and that's kind of open office hours where anybody can come in. You don't have to be on the team to join in, and if you have any questions or comments or things you would like to see in the community, those are once a month in a Zoom call. And we try to do it on the first Friday of the month. And JD is actually the one leading that initiative on the conflict resolution team. And then community health workshops, that's...
Yeah, in the past we've done like adult mental health first aid. I think that was mostly during the pandemic. We do the code of conduct incident response workshops. So a code of conduct contact is like if you want to go to an event and help that event have a safe space. So if there's an issue happens at that event, you know how to respond to it. You know what the process is to do that in a more effective way. And then if you complete the training, we also, with your permission and with all the clearing, you get a checkbox on your profile that says you've taken the training. So if you are added to an event page on Drupal.org, community events, as a code of conduct contact, then it says under your name that you've completed the training. And it just lets sponsors know, it lets potential attendees know that it's gonna be a safer space than if, people don't know what they're doing kind of thing.
And we do encourage camps to have at least two code of conduct officials, and try to have them be diverse from each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's the psychological safety of our attendee that we really want to secure.
Yeah. So yeah, we were talking about the blog. There's been things about the mental health resources, navigating burnout, the code of conduct stuff, and then the Aaron Winborn Award is something that is also handled by the CRT. I don't know if is that further.
No, I think that's the slide for that. So,
Want to talk about that?
sure. The Aaron Winborn Award, of course, is you saw us present it this morning before the Dries Note, is for somebody who's outstanding in the community that really helps around. Obviously, Kristen. The one thing I love about I've been giving this award out for. This was my 4th time, and every single time we elect someone, and it's always oh yeah. Definitely. There's never been a question as to who gets elected. The process is we ask for public nominations. We actually got about 76 this year, which is the most that we've gotten. Last year we got like 5. It was very poorly done. Well, not poorly done, but the person that won last year was a no-brainer as well. And then the after the nominations come in, the people from the conflict resolution team, the 5 of us, and then the previous winners vote on out of those people in a blind survey or in a blind manner, and then we tally them up and they get to win, or the people win. And it was a very, very close call this year. It was by 1 point that KP won, and the other person that was nominated or that almost won was a no-brainer as well. So it's always hard. Sometimes I think we should do it twice a year, once in once in Europe and once here. But then that's it. It's pulling teeth to get people to make an award though that doesn't break. Like last year's award broke on stage while we were giving it out. It was awesome, and I still have to make a new one for Mike and whatnot. So. But yeah, the Aaron Winborn Award, I don't know if anybody had the pleasure of meeting him. He passed away due to ALS. A really great guy. He pretty much wrote Views, I believe it was, or Media. No, he wrote Media, and was just a super great guy, and sad at his passing. So I'm glad we get to honor him with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, and maybe even like other opportunities for recognizing people in the community who are doing great work. 'Cause there's people doing stuff all over the place, doing really great work.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked a little bit about, during COVID, we did the well-being hours and looked out after people, and I think Matthew's kind of pulling that back up a little bit now. We also, one thing that we completed, I guess Nudges is complete, but it's never complete.
Yeah, that we created these nudges for conflicts in the written word, and we had 4 sets of nudges, one for ableist language, one for gendered language, one for, the one nudge was for, what was it called? I don't know, but it addressed language like ableism and racism and cultural differences and things like that. Then we have like an escalating emotion or a gatekeeping nudge, and now we're working on 2 nudges that the community, we thought we were done, but the community is always changing and there's always new things happening in the community. So we're working on a set of language for nudges for inauthentic comments in the issue queue or noise in the issue queue, because lots of people are
Farming.
farming
Credit
credits,
farming.
and it causes maintainers a lot of stress to have this noise. So we're working on this second set of nudges, 2 of them, where again it's inauthentic comments and no, you're fine.
Ding, fries are done.
Inauthentic comments and unuseful credits, the little PCPH ones, whatever
Yeah.
they're called, yeah. So that's active. We're going to start working on those again in a couple of weeks. And we did help create a contributor feedback channel where maintainers could go in there and talk about what's going on in their issue queues, sort of commiserate at first, but now they kind of work on the language with each other. And these nudges are in our issue queue, and we have templates that you can use that highlights them in green, and it has a little friendly thing. It has a links to the values and principles that go along with the nudges, and it just kind of reminds whoever's in that thread that we do have values and principles, and most of the time they work.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's actually reduced the amount, the length of an issue, just really easily. Just throw in a nudge and then everything settles out. And
Or people take time. One of them, I think, goes, you need to take a break and come back.
yes.
Yeah. And then another thing that we did was the code of conduct update. That was something that George DeMitt really spearheaded. I don't remember.
Yeah,
Two years
two
involved
years
in
ago,
that.
we rewrote, we refactored the code of conduct from what it was when it started 15 years ago, just to make it more inclusive and easier to digest.
Yeah, we added some language of more marginalized communities, not just those recognized by certain governments. And this is something we did open up to the general community. We do open up, helping us work out these things in the community. It's in the issue queue. Sometimes we'll do an article about, call to action. We need help on nudges. But really, the community only responds once we've decided something's finished. So we encourage people to give feedback as we go. Yeah. But we do go back and we listen to the community and we do discuss.
Yes.
But yeah.
All right, so ongoing, upcoming community initiatives.
What's the third bullet?
Me? I thought we were going to have a third point and we didn't.
So the nudges is what you're talking about. That's something that is an ongoing thing that we're continuing to do. Tools for the healthy community. The site moderator documentation, so like a process for outlining the expectations of that role in the
Yes,
community.
so there's a role called site moderators, and we used to be called
Admins.
master?
Yeah.
Webmaster?
Webmasters.
Webmasters, but we decided to change that for inclusivity. So it's the site moderator queue. And a lot of the issues in that are people who are new to Drupal or new to Drupal.org, and they go to post an issue and their account gets flagged as spam. So it's a lot of confirming new accounts. But there's this mystery about how you get the role and why someone who has the role has different privileges from someone else who has the role. So we're working on a process of vetting and making sure appropriate people have the role, because it does come with elevated privileges. You are able to view everything that someone writes on Drupal.org, so you can review their count for spam. But then some site moderators can only confirm people. So this is documentation that we want to have on board. And also the site moderator queue has, it can be noisy, so we're working on signal versus noise in that queue. And then we're also working on gatekeeping, you know, making sure that people can do the role that they signed up for.
And a lot of the contrib modules, maintainers go away after a while and you're trying to get it updated. Site moderators can change that privilege or change people over if they need to, if asked and shown that you're actually participating, as opposed to just, I'll take it, and you can't do that. So. And
I think they can, some of them can delete projects, but we're working on the process of documentation. That way people know how to get the role and why, if you don't get a role, why you didn't get that role.
For example, I still have no idea how I got the role. All of a sudden I just have it. So.
No, we did that because we asked Tim Lennon to get all the conflict resolution team the role.
Okay, she knows why I got it. I don't.
Okay, so all of the conflict resolution team has access to that role now, because we are able to go back and see what nodes people have written. We can even see what's been deleted. So there is history.
What's been edited. What's really funny
is
when someone says, no, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
So, but again, we don't have a documentation process for that role, so it's a mystery. So we want the community to we want to be transparent about what we can do, what we can see, and who we give these privileges to. So that's an ongoing thing right now.
Yeah. And that's working directly with the Drupal Association, obviously, because they have the full privilege, and we have to work with them on that.
Yeah.
I think we've already touched on the annual nominations.
Oh yeah, look at that.
And all that.
Oh, but also, if you would like it to create next year's award, please let me know, because we are always looking for good award creators. Russell's been great. This was the second award that he made, and they're awesome. But you know, we don't pay for them, so I don't want to ask them every year. So.
True. That's that non-code contribution.
Exactly.
Right? If you're a maker.
Oh, that reminds me. I need to do an issue for him and give him credit.
Yeah, so like we're working on additional training options for code of conduct training, because right now there is a little bit of a cost barrier. I know that there are some other communities, well, a lot of other communities use the same vendor that we use, so that makes it a little bit hard to find a good spot. But that vendor is also doing different trainings in different time zones, trying to accommodate a global community in that way. It's Otter Tech, in case your community is looking for something like that. And it's like a hands-on training. I think, Matthew, you did the training and had a lot of great things to say about it early on.
It was really good, and one thing in terms of the Colorado community, if somebody's a member of that community and not want to take the training, the Drupal Colorado Inc. will pay for it.
Okay.
If you're a member of the Drupal community in Colorado, you can get the training.
So you have to be in Colorado, though?
Yes.
Okay. So,
I mean,
yeah, that makes sense. No. I just wanted to clarify, and for the recording, in case, you know, somebody does actually see this and we're not going to stop it from being recorded. What Matthew Saunders was saying, that if you live in the Drupal Colorado area and you are interested in being a code of conduct contact and taking the training, Drupal Colorado's financial body will sponsor the cost of that. And I think it's $350, but then it's a $50 off through the Drupal community. And if you ever take it, make sure that you, I think there's like a pre-training survey where you say that you want to use this in the Drupal community, and then the instructor will let us know that you completed it, and we can do all the giving of the credit, because you get contrib credit for it, and you get listed on a certain page that says these are all the people who have completed the training. So.
And it's not unreasonable to ask your camp to pay for it.
Sure.
Yeah, Nora?
Yep.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. MidCamp does it too, so you might find that your local organization will also do that.
Yeah, and it's another non-code contribution to keeping a safe community, and you may be willing to get like free tickets at events if you travel to a different camp or something like that. get free tickets and things like that as well.
And it shows up on our Drupal.org profile. What, Fran?
It's Otter Tech. It's on our website. I don't have maybe we have a link in the end somewhere. But we have a link to it that there's actually a Google form on the Code of Conduct training page on Drupal.org that has a Google form that you fill out to get the code, the $50 off code. So yeah, just let me know, or you can see me after too if I don't have a link at the end of this.
I mean, all our stuff is at Drupal.org/community,
Okay.
right?
Is it /community?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm looking that up
Or
right now.
CWG?
And the Otter Tech, their address is just otter.technology.
Right.
Otter.technology.
Yeah. So yeah, so do you have an initiative idea? You're welcome to share a thing that you would like to contribute to the community, something that you're passionate about and want to bring as a part of the community work or the community working group, a community health team, to get some assistance and I don't know if I keep hearing this validation. Sometimes you need validation that you're doing something good in the community. Just to say that you are doing this as a part of the CWG may help get participation and buy-in from it. So yeah, I think you can visit the issue queue or, just let us know. You can join us. You can start meeting with us quarterly and seeing our faces in Zoom.
Yeah, we welcome everybody to come join. You start off on the community health team and work on those initiatives, and then if you'd like to dive into the chaos of the conflict resolution team, you're welcome to join that as well.
I don't think you're selling it very well by saying dive into the chaos.
So I'm on the Drupal.org page for community health, and there's a few roles. We have a community event support role, which April currently has, but we're always looking for new members. We look for subject matter experts across different geographical areas or different industries. We use past conflict resolution team members as SMEs because they have historical knowledge that we might not have if an issue recirculates. And then we have a few people on our mental health team. We currently are looking for someone actively. I mean, we're looking for anybody, or not anybody, but we do want people to contribute. But we're really in need of a subject matter expert in diversity and inclusion. Our team is not as diverse as we should be. And so sometimes we don't have all the answers, and we don't have a set SME that we contact right now. So that's something that we know that we're missing and are looking for help with. Yep. Any questions? Well, how about?
What URL did you have?
I don't know. I'm on DuckDuckGo, so it only says Drupal.org.
Oh, okay. So anyway, it is /community/CWG is the one I'm looking at anyway. So, do y'all have any questions? Yes, Nora.
I'm sorry, those roles that you're looking for, is that on the same?
It's on the community health team page. Yeah. And we're open to new roles too. If you feel like there's a role that we're missing, let us know. You don't have to fill that role, but that's something for us to think about because we are community based. And then we're also looking for sort of brainstorming ideas of how you think the community might help you next. Is there something that we're missing? Is there a comment about something that you've seen that we can do better too?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we do get called
Ineffective.
ineffective a lot. People call us ineffectual. Because sometimes we don't do anything because there's nothing to be done. And other times people just don't understand that we have to look at both sides and we have to take into account all of the things. And so sometimes we don't do anything because of that. Yeah.
So, very good point. And I wonder, what's the lowest threshold for involvement in conflict resolution? When you say, look, this is just too small, or do you
I mean,
work with that?
So
Go ahead.
The question is, what's the sort of the lowest involvement that we get into for the conflict resolution team? Where do we draw the line of commenting versus not commenting?
Yeah, I think that, two things that I look for anyway is if it's still something that's ongoing. If something had happened and then it kind of got back on track on its own, there's really no need for us to step in at that point because it worked itself out.
Sometimes someone will post a nudge for us.
So, yeah, sometimes somebody else will do the nudge and whatnot, and we just kind of will document it at that point and see if there's a pattern. If there's a pattern of the same person going in and repeatedly doing the same thing, then we'll have to step in at that point because now they're doing a cycle of it. So, but for the most part, if it's something that happens and then goes away, then we can pretty much let it lie. I always find that sometimes our involvement gets people
Riled up.
and then they get more angry and then more conflict, and we're supposed to be resolving it, not escalating it.
It's a iterative process for us, knowing when to step in and who to step in with. But I think that lowest denominator of like posting a nudge where it's just, okay, hold on, it's highlighted bright green, everyone can see this, we're being transparent. That de-escalates a lot, but that's sort of that lowest level of participation is we just see someone, the bickering, or not bickering, the disagreements.
I think bickering's a good,
Okay, but yeah, the disagreements just are lasting a little bit too long and it's making some other community members uncomfortable. So that's sort of that lowest threshold.
And that
I
is a
think.
good point. Half the time, or more than half, a good portion of the time, the people that report it are not the people involved in it. It's there are other people that are involved that now it's a third party and now we get to be a fourth party to it. But then also the people that are in the middle of an argument, when you're arguing with someone, you don't realize it, right? Because you're there. It's the other people that are noticing it and being, hey, this is not cool, so relax, I guess.
But we do our diligence and we look at past Slack history. We look at the person and see what they post. That's why sometimes it takes us maybe a couple of days after an incident report to we'll let the person know who reported the incident. Okay, we hear you. We're a volunteer team. We will do something, But it's never just one person's decision. We get on Slack as soon as an incident report comes in, and we talk about it, and we talk about who has the spoons and then we create documentation. We work on it together, and we make sure that it's really solid before we send it out to people. But we do our
Do.
Yeah.
You said do.
We do our due diligence.
There you go.
So sometimes that's not quick enough for some people, but we really want to make sure that we're a even team. And most of us know a lot of people in the community, so we do have to put aside issues sometimes if there's a conflict of interest. So, and that's when sometimes we have to pull in other SMEs too. If all of us are connected, it wouldn't be fair for us to we don't want our personal bias to sway us in any way.
Right, and we want to remain non-partial to that effect, so.
You also do you manage the impact of whatever's happened to know how, if you need to elevate it in certain ways as well?
Yeah.
Because we do care about people's feelings, okay? Feelings are very valid. Feelings are what keep us in the community. And sometimes when we're hot, we don't understand that we've hurt someone's feelings, So we work on that kind of stuff too. We make sure that there's safe spaces for people, psychological safety, so.
Yep. So this, are we done then? This is the last slide, huh?
Well, it's questions and answers.
Oh, okay. Right on. Yes, Nora.
For someone that has been new to code of conduct and, being trained in code of conduct in the past few years, but haven't actively dealt with a lot of cases or incidents, is there a guidebook that you specifically would recommend for a refresher purpose, like right before an event? Like, I want to make sure that not only myself, but others that do get involved, even though they've had the training in the past, just have something that they can kind of quick, okay,
Well-
these are the things that I need to remember that are kind of my guidelines on knowing how and what to respond to when and to what degree. And, I just didn't know if there was some
Yeah, I mean, that's,
flyer that I could hand
that's
out.
absolutely
basically.
something that has been asked for, even like refresher training or like more advanced training and that sort of thing. I think that's a great thing that we need to provide. Like, I was just thinking about that last night or something. I don't know, random thoughts while I was going to bed, whatever. Yeah, like, what are the things we need to ask? How should we approach things? And just have it as a flyer like that. I mean, that even is something that we could collaborate on if you wanted to do something like that
Yeah.
together as a contribution in the health
But-
team.
I always say go back to the code of conduct,
I was
because
just
that
gonna say
is.
that. Look at our
end all
values
be
and
all,
principles.
But
There's
it's,
the steps, though,
it's a
like,
hefty,
yeah.
exactly. Well, yeah, I guess
There's
that's.
there's the steps and like listening to both parties and making them feel heard, and there's things that there's a process, and that is the part that you get from the code of conduct training.
In the meantime, I hate to throw this out as a resource. The WordPress community has a lovely code of conduct sort of training. It's hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours long.
Is it all reading?
It's reading.
Okay, yeah.
So it is an excellent written resource, though. So, and then the Linux Foundation might have a playbook. I can look that up because we put on a lot of events too, but we use OtterTech for our code of conduct trainings as well. But there might be some resources on our events page, and I can look that up for you, Nora.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, if the flyer could exist, that would be my ask.
So you're thinking about something to actually hand out to contacts or to have at your events, so something that's printable and not something on the web, okay?
Just as a reminder right before, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yes.
One second question. Well, having worked with code of conduct and stuff like this in another community.
Typo 3, is that the community?
We also looked at a lot of what Drupal has done, and of course other communities as well. We're a community where a lot of people are not English as a mother tongue. Understanding is an issue, and one of the things we discussed a lot was, the verbosity of everything relating to code of conduct and stuff like that. We ended up with a very short code of conduct that's only 158 words. But do you deal with that as well as an inclusivity issue, that the verbosity of everything around the code of conduct can also become something that is uninclusive for
I think that was part of the rewriting of the code of conduct, was to
Yeah.
make it more plain language and to provide more examples of what each of those things are saying.
And also we have subject matter experts come in and read it and basically translate it for us and make sure that it's not going to be misinterpreted in one way or the other.
And we felt we had to add some things because our community sort of needed us to add more. So we did try reduction of words, but it was mostly like reconfiguring the language to be more concise and no localisms and jargon and buzzwords and stuff like that. So, but I don't think we can get it smaller with our current community.
No.
Yeah.
We certainly tried.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it definitely, we're obviously a very international group, and although our team, the community health team has folks in Europe as well and whatnot, and, but we rely heavily on the subject matter experts to say, there's one issue where a person was very harsh, and they tried to they tried to position it as, well, that's just our culture. But that doesn't give you the right, it's just
So they would write to us in their native language too, which is fine. So we had to have one of our subject matter experts come in and translate for us, so we didn't lose anything, using tools. So, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, so we do have to deal with it across the way that way. And we rely heavily on the kindness of others to let us know, that they're, and we hope that they're translating properly for us. We don't know.
But this is why we call for more subject matter experts and then more people that want to join the team for geographic diversity. Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions? Yes.
Maybe it's a practical question, because we do a DrupalCon in my country, and now for the first, we have a code of conduct group, and the board that is or organizers, they just like, what are you doing, you know, and they're not completely on board. They're like, okay, you do your thing. And I can now already see, like, if there's going to be an incident, and it's going to be somebody from the community doing something weird, then the organizers have a
Responsibility?
no, they have an interest. Like they're probably going to know the guy or girl.
Oh.
Yeah, and that-
and they're gonna and they're already going to. The problem was like, I want to have the autonomy with the group, the group of coder. That's the place where we're going to say like, we need action or we don't need action or something is going to need to be done and maybe somebody needs to be removed from the premises. But then the organizer like, we want to have a say in this.
Well, but I mean, technically, that's here at DrupalCon. We're the community health team. We're, you know, however, they have their own people. They come to us with issues, and if we need to take care of it, or but they also handle their own issues as well. And it's kind of, it is their right, but they also have to announce that, hey, this is a code of conduct, or here's our code. Here's what we need to be doing in this community. So.
But the way to sort of solve that, or not solve it, but one way to kind of keep some autonomy for your team is when there's a code of conduct incident, that there's only 2 people or 3 people who get that email, 2 or 3 people that get that text message. Like when you write to the Drupal or the conflict resolution team, it's only the 5 of us. Do you know what I mean? And then in Florida Camp, for an example, there's 2 code of conduct officers, and we're the only 2 that get that email. And we don't share it with the organizing team.
That's the same as in Colorado.
Yeah, we do that in Colorado as well. Yeah,
Just the 2 of us.
but there is a level of transparency you have to have with the organizers because you do want someone to leave. But that's when you ask that someone to leave on their own. You know, there's different ways that you can do that, you know. You can ask them to leave as a code of conduct official. You don't have to have your organizers do that. But that's a dynamic that could be like a power struggle too. So I don't have a whole complete answer for you. But one of the things to help is like separating who knows about the incident and investigating it fully before you report it to the organizers. Unless it's something really hot and happening, right? You know, and it has to be dealt with right then.
Yeah, we had an incident on stage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And still there was a conflict, like, but he didn't really mean it, but that's just not, you're not supposed to, it was just a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I think-
conversation, I don't want to have that conversation, everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think having conversations between the organizers and the code of conduct people is important too. Like making your process transparent to them and just working together because it's a community effort. You know, you're not trying to get rid of people from their event. You are here to support their event. And you can also tell them the impact of this person's actions is this. So we believe that this is the right move to do it.
And I'm assuming that the person was a sponsor, and that's why the organizer did not want to do anything. Yeah. So.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So that makes it more difficult, but also it shines a bad light on that person. It shines a bad light on the organization. It just, you know, we're here to make it better, not look for problems. You know,
Yeah.
we're not
People are
dorm
hard.
attendants. So.
And if the event is worried about the, you know, what it looks like on them for this person to be removed or whatever, if that's the thing that they're worried about, maybe making it transparent to attendees and sponsors that this team is going to handle the code of conduct separate from us and we respect their decisions kind of thing. Like, and so it may not like be like a decision by that organization, because, you know, reputation. I mean, here we are in this world. We all know whenever people get together, things are gonna happen, right? So, yeah, I think it's all about communication, right? Like figuring out why they would be concerned about this move, and making sure that you communicate why it's not a bad thing for them, I guess would be, communication.
Yeah, on stage is a tricky one.
Yeah. You get the giant hook, right? You have to have the hook. Any more questions?
I do have something, an initiative that I'd like to talk to you about.
Okay.
But I don't know because it's very much in the nascent stage. Would you like me to present it now or?
If you want to talk to us after, that's fine. If you, yeah. Any more questions? Fran, you look like you have a question. I'm just kidding.
No, I just want to say thank you. You guys are
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the vouch for you. You guys, I know everyone in the room already knows these guys are amazing, but they have dealt with issues for me. Make this place feel safe as a Drupal newbie compared to you guys. Thank you. That
All right.
was the question, but.
Yes, David.
Also, thank you. If you had one place where you would want someone to start helping or contributing to these groups in some way, where would you want them to start?
Okay, so that's level of engagement. So that's a kind of a two-part question, okay? Sort of the lowest fence or whatever the
Low hanging fruit.
I don't think I'm,
Is that where you're going?
I don't think I can use that term anymore.
Okay.
Yeah,
Lowest bar.
lowest bar.
Lowest bar.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. Is joining the community health team. It's a commitment of one meeting a quarter and then some Slack conversations and action items. But also, an action item could be looking in our issue queue and jumping in and helping us with nudge language or site moderator process. Those are our two current things that we're working on. And then the brainstorm on what can we provide the community with next for workshops and things like that. But I think that joining the community health team is a real, I mean, time is an issue, right? But it's an hour a month and then maybe an hour and two of action item a month, depending on your level of engagement. And some people engage 5 hours a month, some people engage 1 hour a month. You know, sometimes just coming to the meetings is their engagement. But that's a conversation. We have conversations every quarter, you know. Coming to community health working, what are they called?
The office hours.
Office hours. Community working group office hours? Yeah. And then kind of talking with and brainstorming. That's actually probably the lowest bar, is that coming and talking with us every first Friday of the month?
The month.
Okay, the month. Yes, Fran?
I did think of a question. So this question comes from real experience. I'm working with one of the community groups on an initiative, and someone opened an issue questioning that some of the language we might be using might be like exclusive or whatever. Could use some work. Could that be something that we could reach out for support on, or like where would you recommend?
Absolutely. Yeah, let us tag us in on there and we can take a look at it. And I mean, that's what we're here for.
Also, Grammarly has a tool now, I think, that will flag language like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I learned some of the, like, oh, I can't use that anymore, you know? So, yeah. I'm not trying to punt it, but, you know.
Options.
All right. Any more questions?
All right. Thanks for attending.
Yeah, thanks so
and
much
we'll
for
see you
coming.
at the office hours.